I would like to call this meeting to order, this 11th day of August, 2026. Councillor Court is going to try and be online, but if not...
tornado warning.
Perfect. But if not, if he can't be online, I hope he has a good holiday. Council, before we make a motion for the agenda, administration would like to add 6G, funds transfer, and we'll talk about it later on. So if someone would, okay, go ahead, Councillor.
I'll make a motion to adopt. Are we doing the minutes? Is that what you want me to do?
No. First thing is we're going to add this to the agenda.
I thought you adopted with the addition.
No, we're not there yet.
Okay, I will add 6G movement of funds to the agenda.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you. And now we'll have a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt the August 11th, 2026 agenda with the amendments as presented.
Perfect. All in favor? Thank you. All right, delegations. Let's start there. So we've got Crystal Elliott from Alberta Health Services. Welcome.
Thank you.
In amongst all the things we've got going on here.
All is great. I'm actually Crystal Elliott. I'm the CEO of Shinnecock Regional Hospital Foundation, and not with AHS, just for my email is AHS, but okay. My email address, but we are actually a separate organization.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
But it doesn't matter. It's
all good.
It's all good and part and parcel. So thank you so much for having us here today. I so appreciate the opportunity to be able to come and present to the council. We are here today to share an update on the Bringing Hearts Home campaign, what it means for your community, and how we're continuing to move forward with this across Southwest Alberta. So I'm joined here today by my colleague, Pam Hapa-Aho. And Pam actually has a bit of a personal connection to Cardston. So I'm going to let her just introduce herself.
Hello. So even though I'm not a resident here in Cardston, I have very fond memories of coming here quite frequently with my mom being an x-ray tech at the hospital for many, many, many years. And so I've come to know this place, spend lots of time, build friends and relationships here. And I'm just happy to be here today in front of you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thanks, Pam. So Pam and I are here today to share the momentum. So together with communities across Southern Alberta, and I'm assuming, I have a really loud voice, so I'm assuming you're good. Okay, great. So together with communities across Southern Alberta, we have now raised $31.2 million of our $30 million goal. Our campaign is set to go till January of 2027. And we have reached our goal 24 months versus the 30 months originally scheduled, which we're incredibly proud of everyone in Southern Alberta for stepping up and in. But what that does is it tells us something super important. It tells us that the region believes in what we're building, and now our focus is shifting. We are raising dollars, but we're also rallying voices. So heart disease is the #2 cause of death in Canada, but here in Southern Alberta, where we all live, it is the #1 cause. And what's important to understand about that, it's not just about acute events, it's also about underlying risk. So Southern Alberta has one of the highest cardiovascular risk profiles in the province. And that's because of hypertension, obesity, physical inactivity, and access barriers to earlier screening. In our region, cardiac death rates are also significantly higher. Because we live in Southern Alberta, we have a 30% higher chance of dying from a cardiac event than anywhere else in the province. We know that we also have a 15.5% higher chance of having cardiac issues compared to other regions. So you have the risk factors, and then you have the access pieces that I just talked about. So patients are currently traveling up to 3.5 hours for care, when the clinical standard is actually 90 minutes for a cardiac event, and that's not okay. So we have a higher risk, we have higher mortality, we have longer delays, and that combination is exactly why the work that we're doing matters. It isn't actually a people problem, it's a system gap. So right now, Southern Alberta doesn't have a comprehensive cardiac services program that meets the need of the growing population. Right now, all of us have to leave the region for interventional procedures, advanced diagnostics, critical cardiac treatment, and every time that happens, care is delayed, risks increase of mortality, and outcomes are impacted. So what we're trying to solve isn't just access, we're trying to solve a structural gap in the healthcare system. So before we go any further, I just want to bring it into focus because of everything we've talked about so far, the statistics, the distance. This video is speaking to what it really looks like for all of us in Southern Alberta. People often travel hours for cardiac care. Not once though, just over and over for every follow-up and every check-in and every piece of that. So when every second matters, that distance does become the reality. Can't stop that one.
Can't stop that one. No, sorry. Very large scale. My bad. Jill, my bad.
Her voice will tell us whether or not. Thank you. So what you saw is the reality for thousands of people in our region. Each year, more than 1,300 individuals leave the region for cardiac care. There and back, over and over at a time when really they should be focused on healing. In critical moments, that distance does introduce risk, and it isn't just inconvenient, it's not sustainable, and it's really just not acceptable. We know the solution though, and now we do have the opportunity to change it. So the Southern, hang on, there we go. So the Southern Alberta Cardiac Center of Excellence isn't just a building, it's a comprehensive cardiac care system. It does include advanced cardiac diagnostics, interventional cardiology, so cath labs and electrophysiology, expanded ICUs and critical care capacity, CT and MRI imaging, and heart function clinics and long-term monitoring. It's about the full continuum of care from diagnosis to treatment and recovery, and it is designed to be integrated across the region, multidisciplinary, and built for future demand. It's not a short-term fix, it's a generational healthcare solution. So actually I get to share, we're further ahead actually than this now, but what's important to understand is that this work is no longer theoretical. It is now supported at the highest levels. In the 2026 Alberta budget in February, the government of Alberta committed $59 million over the next 3 years, but they also committed to the full $445 million project. That is to advance cardiac care and critical care capacity in Southern Alberta. It includes a development of a cardiac catheterization lab right at Chinook Regional Hospital in Lethbridge, which means that you can get there within the 90 minutes. It also includes expanded ICU capacity in both Lethbridge and Medicine Hat to enable cardiac step down and critical care in those areas. In addition to that, we are now moving forward, and the RFP has actually been awarded to the prime contractor or the prime consultant for the full design, and the budget will be complete within the next 8 months-ish. The RFP for construction will actually go out probably about halfway through that process. So super excited to be able to say that the signs are going up and the government is committed. So that means that the government does recognize the gap, the need, the importance of building cardiac care in our region. But it's not the full solution. It's a huge critical step forward, and it does really build on the work we've already done. The needs assessment, the functional planning, the design, and the momentum created by the community. So we're starting to see full alignment and the government stepping forward. The clinical teams are ready. The community has raised $31.2 million and is leading in philanthropy and advocacy. At this stage, it's not about starting the conversation. It's about ensuring that it remains a priority, it continues to move forward, and that it's delivered at the scale that our region really needs. So what this project is delivering isn't just treatment, it's also enabling prevention. We know that 90% of heart disease can actually be linked to modifiable factors, things that we can influence. So through what's part of this project is Southern Alberta Prevents, we're calling it, and it's identifying risk earlier, empowering people to know their numbers, and intervening before a crisis happens. So then it becomes a critical model, like a complete. Sorry, I talk with my hands all the time. So that's where today becomes important. At this stage, we are asking for donations, we're asking for leadership, we're asking for advocacy, and because what we have in front of us is real. The plan's in place, the system is designed, and we've raised $31.2 million. It's already in motion. So the question for us now is, how do we ensure it's fully realized? So one of the ways that we're trying to invite municipalities to participate is through a per capita contribution model. We're asking you to consider an ask of $5 to $10 per resident. It's a simple approach. We're also asking you to write a letter of advocacy to your MLA to be able to say that you believe in cardiac care and that the municipality of Cardston believes that cardiac care in Southern Alberta is a critical priority. This creates a shared sense of ownership. It ensures that every community is part of building something that every resident, unfortunately, will rely on at some point in their lives, whether it's them or their friends or family. Individually, it's a modest contribution. Collectively, it becomes transformational. But more than anything, it sends a message. It sends a message that the municipality of Cardston believes in access to care, that you believe families should stay close to home, and that you're willing to help stand by a solution that is underway. There is still opportunity to give, and there's opportunity to lead. So to be part of the ensuring that this project moves forward remains a priority and becomes a reality. This does impact everyone, but not equally. So we know that rural communities, Indigenous populations, and those with limited access to primary care face higher cardiovascular risk and poorer outcomes. It's not just about access, it's about equity in health outcomes. It's about ensuring that where you live does not determine whether you live or not. I do want to say that I know that Cardston is getting a brand new hospital, and congratulations. That was part of the same announcement where we were announced, and how exciting for your community to be able to upgrade the services that are available to the residents here. That's incredible. So we do believe in recognizing the generosity that makes it possible. We promise you that your support will be honored with care and gratitude. What we're building is not just a cardiac center. We're building a system, one that treats patients faster, identifies risk earlier, prevents disease where possible, and keeps families together. We have the plan, we have the momentum, and we have the belief of Southern Alberta. So now we just need to make sure that it comes to fruition. It's more than about today. It's about changing the future in healthcare in Southern Alberta. Where it will connect for Cardston is in virtual care. There will be pieces built into the hospital to be able to connect to cardiologists, as well as in-home monitoring for Holter monitors, which we already purchased a Holter monitor for Cardston out of some of the funds of the Bringing Hearts Home campaign, and that was to ensure that that testing would be available right here in Cardston. So some of the proceeds are already being utilized to access those. So thank you so much for having me today. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate it. Councillor Smith, go ahead.
Well, ironically, I was in a cardiologist's office this afternoon with my husband, and one of the treatments was going to Calgary for an angiogram. So will there be angiogram services here?
Yes, that's what a catheterization lab will be able to do, is the angiogram, which will then place a stent. If you have a heart attack, right now, anyone who has a heart attack actually has to go by ambulance to Calgary to get a stent placed to open that blockage. And that's one of the biggest pieces. So by 2031, we will have a catheterization lab built in Lethbridge.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you for coming. We appreciate
Thank you
your
so
work.
much. And if you would like a sample letter of advocacy, we don't really need it. The government has approved it, but we are trying to demonstrate that 100% of the municipalities in Southwest Alberta believe. And so that's why we're asking for that piece.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You bet. All right, moving along. We've already got Sergeant Wright here, so come on up. We're running a little early, but come on down. Pardon?
That's not a bad thing.
I know, right?
Is this her computer?
I think it's Shem's.
Shem, that's not her computer, is it? Jeff's. Okay.
Oh, okay.
perfect.
I'm just gonna plug
Yeah,
it. That's
you
Take
can
it down
just-
to the pawn shop.
That's right. I don't know where it went.
Perfect.
Okay, good evening, council. I appreciate you making some time for me today.
Of course.
I unfortunately probably do not have anything as important as what you just heard to present tonight, but I will do my best. In relation to actually, before I get started here, a couple of uniform and equipment things that towns should know about. And I may have addressed some of this stuff before. Can you guys hear me okay? Sometimes I don't know if I'm
No, we're good.
yelling or
We're good.
just being picked up. We're transitioning to our blue tops here right away. That's essentially it. We've just gone from gray to blue. There'll be
Summer version? 'Cause I
there
feel
is,
like-
yes. I just don't have it yet. I forgot to order it. So,
Are you-
so yeah, they'll have short sleeve and long sleeve rolling out shortly. They'll just be this color, not necessarily this model. So the cars, we're going back to black and whites. It'll be an interesting change. It's going to be, I think it's more of an industry standard going forward. Like Edmonton's using them, Calgary's using them. We'll start to use them. Basically, it's so people can identify, oh, that's a police car, but it's, the agency is kind of after the fact, whatever agency it is.
Are your
just
Joe's
so-
cars going to be marked, you know?
No, we're going to keep those hidden from you. I'll give you the heads up on those ones later. Firearms, we start training next month. So that'll be a bit of a rollout. We're getting away from like the old like Smith and Wesson that we've had for like 30 years here and going to something a little more modern. I don't think most people won't even notice it, right? So, but just so you're aware, if you're asked questions on that. Time frame for all these rollouts. Again, we should see uniform shirts come out by the end of the month. Firearms by September. The cars will kind of go as we just like gradually time those out. I think our Tahoes are probably next up for replacement, so those are probably the first ones to go. So I think our unmarked is due for replacement too. It's touching about 160, 170, and usually they start to look at them in the procurement line when they hit about that. So Yeah. So with that, I did send out a media release regarding the crime severity index. I know all over the province, everybody's kind of holding that up right now, like, like great work and stuff. And it is. Like, it's good to see that number coming down. But by no means, again, does the success of that number rest solely at our feet. There's a number of contributing factors that bring that number down. And it's not just great police work as much as people like to laud that. So, in a community as ours where we get 2,000, 2,500 calls per year, that number can drop by having 2-3 prolific offenders move, right? It'll affect our crime severity index. So we just got to be careful. We like to think that we are doing some great work, but to drop it by 16 points, like there's certainly other factors there. So any questions on the crime severity index?
So the thing I really liked was hearing, like in the background or reading everything, your priority 1 crime reduction, where it says crime in the area remains at a 5-year low over most, if not all areas. Increased visibility with the focus on deterring and disrupting crime continues to be a strategy that is producing results across the board. I think it's important to read that out loud so people can actually hear it. And then the RCMP will continue efforts to increase foot patrols in Cardston while working in cooperation with the town to develop larger SEPTED initiatives. I think that's incredible. And when I was reading through all of these, not that the rest isn't as exciting as that, but just reading that, I loved it. I think it's fantastic. And I think sometimes you don't take a compliment very well. So we're giving you the compliment of saying, well done. And we continue to look forward to working with you because this is fantastic. Great. However it comes about, working together, whatever is working, we're figuring it out. But sometimes we have to be happy with a little bit of progress.
It's certainly working. Whatever we're doing collectively as a community, it is certainly working. So
I just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I certainly appreciate that, and I will pass that on from council to our frontline guys. They'll certainly want to hear that. And with that, again, when we talk about SEPTED, the crime reduction prevention through environmental design, again, visibility is just like another tool that it's a bit of a low-hanging fruit. Like, it's something that we can get out and do right now without a whole lot of planning and organization. Like, if we know there's something happening here or there, like, we can flood an area and make sure we're visible, just again to deter and prevent, right? So yeah, we're excited as everyone else about the numbers. We just just with a cautiously optimistic, we keep trending that way. With our priorities over Q1, keep in mind some of Q1 kind of gets a bit skewed. Just an event, like school's not in for July and August and things like that. So some of those initiatives where we want to be visible and engaging youth and in the schools, right? We just can't get in there in July. There's just nobody to chat with. So, yeah, so you see foot patrols. Again, we started, we want 250. We're at about 39 for the year. This was back in June. And so we see the most of those come July and August when we're getting out a lot with Officer Stanley and doing our stuff during the evenings as well. Rural patrols, like typically we set that 365. Like, there should be an officer in every part of the jurisdiction at least once per day doing something. And every year since I've been here, like, we've greatly exceeded that number. So we're already up at 159. I don't think this year will be any exception. Usually we bat about 450, 500 on that. And what that does is, just by virtue of having people spread out in the area, at times it reduces our response times, to some of the further out rural properties, smaller communities, etc. And again, when they say 5-year low on some of those crime numbers, if you actually look at that, I went back and I tracked our crime severity index, and this is actually the lowest it's been in over a decade. So yeah, that's far as I could take the numbers back. So like good for us. And that is, you can see a correlation between the amount of files, the amount of prisoners we do, and that crime severity index, and they all drop proportionately over that 10-year period. So again, this year, like I think we'll probably be on the bubble again for about 2,300 calls for service in a year. So I don't expect things like the organizational chart, like the amount of members we have or the amount of funding we get for the attachment. I don't see any change in any of that. Our Q3 budgeting is on track, if not. I think like in some categories, like overtime, like we're 43% down over last year, just because we got more people on the roster right now. We got, and hopefully the community in the parade, it was Constable Tobert. He's new to the community. He'll come off his recruit field training in September, which not only frees him up, but it also frees up his trainer. So that's that'll be a great thing. He's been an asset to the detachment as well. He's formerly the livestock inspector out of Fort McLeod. So he comes with a skill set that we just simply didn't have before, right? So that was good stuff. Traffic safety, again, everything relatively on track. We tend to get most of our roadside demands and stuff done during long weekends and Christmas, like the holiday season. So the number, it's lower than what I want here, but then they just did the check stop over the last long weekend, and there was an additional 70 roadside tests completed. So that number tends to escalate quite quickly. Again, same with tickets. It's like if you're a welder and you're not welding anything, it's hard to call yourself a welder, right? So as police officers, we need to enforce, Traffic Safety Act and a variety of other statutes. That number is a bit arbitrary as long as I'm seeing the roadside stops, like people are being checked for license, registration, proof of insurance. We're getting calls of suspected impaired drivers, and those people are being engaged and pulled over and tested. If there's nothing there, there's nothing there, right? We're not going to just make up tickets just by virtue of having somebody pulled over. So we'll see where that number goes. We're keeping an eye on it. And typically, because this quarter ended June 30th, and a lot of the traffic is done over the busier summer months, an influx of tourists and just general summer traffic, you'll probably see that walk up a little bit in Q2. And again, school zones and whatnot, that'll all be reported on in the fall. Again, we'll do our town halls, community safety presentations, probably sometime after the provincial referendum. All that stuff's gone through, and just so we're not seen as interfering with anything of that nature, right? We'll just kind of wait till that's all done and out of the way, and we'll go ahead with that. We're still looking for ideas from town council on what maybe you'd like to see this year as far as a presentation. So if you have any ideas, if there's any hot topic issues you're hearing from your constituents, please let us know, and we'll certainly prepare something. And if we're not the subject matter experts, we'll certainly bring one in, whether it's from Edmonton, Calgary, Red Deer, or wherever we have that person. So
I think a big one that we're hearing is and you guys do a great job about notifying the town to put out a press release when the seniors, it's the scammers, whether it's an email or phone calls or whatever that is. I feel like that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
If you met with the seniors, because they do their lunch and learns on Fridays or something, that might be a great opportunity to just walk them through it, because we've had some seniors lose a lot of money in this area.
We've seen it.
And it's just makes you feel sick about it. So I just wondered if you could.
We could do maybe something reoccurring, because I know we just had somebody in there in the spring talking about scams, but being what it is, like perhaps maybe it's something, we visit in, twice a year, and not necessarily the same presentation, but just like focus in on scams. So I'll certainly put that on, task that out. Let me get back to you on that. We'll do more on that. That's a good idea. With that, You can see the statistical charts there that show long-term, short-term trends coming up and down. Any of the big numbers that came up, again, there was one, where was it? Criminal harassment went up like 400%. That was a total of 7 files, so I'm not too concerned there. Like typically, if our file count on any given offense like fluctuates by 20 files in any given year, that's pretty normal. You know, again, it could be a rash of scams that come through. It could be, you know, one guy who's prone to assaulting people, or domestic violence incidents that just, you know, it takes time to dissolve or have somebody remanded, that kind of thing. Oh, any questions at all on the priorities and or stat sheet from council?
Council, any questions?
No,
No, looks like we're good.
we're just happy to be here. Okay, well, thank you very much, council. I appreciate you having me out. As we say goodbye to Leor again, I'm not getting him another mug,
Right?
regardless of what he
You
says.
asking for it back.
I tried to take it back last time. When we do get a new bylaw officer, we're more than happy to work, help train in any capacity that the council sees fit, or anywhere where we could help interject. We're more than happy to.
No, please.
So we do have a new person here.
Right.
They're going to be coming before they're here permanently to do a couple of days with Leor.
Okay.
And I'll make sure that we have that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Again, like hopefully we've got a great relationship right now. I think it works well for us and for the community, and if we can just kind of continue that forward, like that'll be the best thing for everyone. So
Absolutely. Thank you.
Perfect,
Thank you
okay.
for coming.
yeah, thanks for
We
your time. Appreciate it.
all they do for us.
Yeah, I'll pass that on to the guys, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the summer, and we'll see everybody in the fall.
I guess go put your vehicle in a garage somewhere.
Yeah,
because it sounds
apparently.
like we got something cooking.
Oh, am I really that
Bring
bald?
to Councillor
Look at
Weiner.
that. What did somebody tell me?
I don't like those cameras.
Yeah,
Right?
that's an awful angle. Somebody's got to get rid of that.
Right? All right, moving right along. So council, we're gonna go over 3D because that we're gonna come back to a closed session. So we're gonna move right into adoption of the minutes from our meeting in July. Could one of you, thank you, Councillor Johnson.
I'll move to adopt the minutes of July
14.
14th, regular council meeting.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. So we're gonna go right to 6A, so Community Futures Agreement and Program Details. Jeff.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. In your package, council, you have an MOU from Community Futures. There was a couple of things I just wanted to ask about it, and Councillor Selk, if you've had any meetings on this and have some context, I'd appreciate it as well. I met with Mr. Brown after his meeting with council. He drafted the MOU, but he wanted me to clarify something with council. In the past, the town has done this business interest program before, and the parameters at that time were that the loan was used for improvements to the building, and particularly the facade of the building. That's what the council of the day wanted to see. When Mark came to see me, we talked about that the intent from CF's point of view is that the loan is a little more general in nature, so kind of anything in your building that you need a loan for. But what Mark wants some feedback on, and I think it's a really good question, is what about non-bricks and mortar infrastructure? And particularly, what about web-based infrastructure? So if you're a business in town and you want to build a website with merchant capabilities, credit card capabilities, you want to make sure you do your search engine optimization correctly, you want to make sure you have all that so you can also do business online or use the site to support your business. That's been outside of the scope of the previous program. And Mark's contention would be that it is something regionally they're seeing as a need from many of their businesses to be able to expand where they couldn't do that geographically before. So again, Councillor Selk, I don't know if there's anything else there, but that's one thing I would like some direction on before we're done tonight.
Okay, Councillor Selk, do you have anything to add to that?
I'm a little bit conflicted by this, simply because I don't know, Jeff, I think that council's intention, as you mentioned, was to improve the facades on storefronts on Main Street, which is still a concern. But I agree with what Mark's suggesting, is that some of the businesses need a boost, and they could be home-based businesses or whatever, and they could use the money, they could use the opportunity. So I'm sorry,
Nope.
I'm conflicted.
I think, Mayor, that was exactly what I said to Mark. I said, you know, council's trying to do a number of things in the downtown through policy and trying to do a number of those things on enforcement, SEPTED, incentives for rebuilding. And this is another piece of that puzzle, certainly, and it can be an effective one. But I'm also totally sympathetic to the need for some of that other type of infrastructure.
So I guess your request from council is just direction on this?
Yeah, would you be okay paying the interest on a loan that was not for like facade or building infrastructure, bricks and mortar infrastructure, but it would be digital infrastructure?
The key is helping businesses. Councillor Selk, go ahead.
I think my suggestion would be, let's create a percentage of what we're doing for that type of assistance, and then go with the rest of it to storefronts and actual bricks and mortar.
I like that idea. Council, would you support a percentage going towards it? I mean, we could do it for a year and revisit it, right?
To be fair, we don't know the demand locally for either right now.
Councillor
And so
Johnson.
those waters need tested.
For sure. Councillor Johnson and Councillor Smith.
And we did set a cap of,
Yep.
was it 5,000?
5,000 in interest annually, yes.
Yeah.
So I guess that really is not a whole lot.
No.
And I'm not too concerned about, and I would accept that proposal too, of splitting it up for the first year and see how it goes.
Yeah.
See what the demand is.
Yeah.
And then make decisions from there.
Councillor Smith?
My thought is, as much as I would like to see all of the facades, or most of them, on Main Street really improved, in today's world, we need the technology that this kind of support is asking for, right, to run a business. And so I think, so I'm in agreement with that also. My other question is, and I was reading through this trying to find it, and I'm sure I just couldn't see it, but what is the piece of if somebody does not make the repayments?
Sure.
That's up to
Yeah, the town doesn't
Not
have any
us.
liability about that. We don't secure the loan,
Yeah.
and we're not responsible there.
Community Futures, they bear the brunt.
Yeah. So Jeff, I think we've given you some.
Yeah, so if I was just to shoot a number out, if council has agreed to budget 5,000 a year for interest, are we thinking, you know, up to 2,000 of that could be for non-bricks and mortar infrastructure? I'm grabbing a number here, obviously, but
Yes.
Yeah.
you know, something like that, just a reasonable, maybe up to half at most, depending on demand. Now, keep in mind, if each business that was interested took the maximum loan, we can only do 3.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like we're saying, hey, 4 of them will do this and 6 will do this.
Right.
On $75,000, that's our $5,000 in interest.
And then I think we revisit it in a year.
Okay.
And just see where we're at.
Okay. I'll put some parameters in there now. One other thing to note is this MOU doesn't have anything specific about that. It was kind of between Mark and I and the town and CF. So if you wish to, you could make a motion to approve this MOU with CF. And then we would just move forward with the understanding that we're limiting. And if you're not comfortable with that and you want it in the document, I can definitely amend it. That's fine too.
Go ahead.
Well, I'd like to make that motion.
Go ahead.
And I think it's pretty understood, Jeff, that you and Mark have the kind of relationship that I don't think we need to be too worried about it.
I'm not at all.
So I'd make the motion to accept this MOU with Community Futures.
Okay. Questions? All in favor? Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Selk. Moving right along. 6B, Golf Committee Governance. This is review the draft governance model. So we've got the governance model put forward. I would love to hear your thoughts.
Can I walk through a few things first, Mayor? Is that
Go
okay?
ahead. For sure.
I actually have a few notes on this. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. I know that Councillor Kenley and Johnson and myself are.
Yeah.
I appreciate them and their insight on this. This actually came together. They may disagree. I thought this came together fairly well. I think we're moving in a really cool direction with a potentially complicated issue. But if you look at the backgrounder, I have the authority matrix, which you saw in the last draft. That really didn't change very much. And then I've got a governance structure, and I think this lays it out fairly well, just so everyone's clear. We have you as the town council, then me, and then we have a list of municipal oversight things.
Sorry, I just have to add,
Yeah.
Councillor Kenley has to leave. He has something he has to go to, just as we're talking about the golf
I was
course.
gonna
It's all
say,
good.
I know.
I think we're on the same page. He can relate.
Yeah.
What our issues are with. There's only really one, but
okay.
and then he can give the update on the clubhouse because it's fairly quick and good.
And I've got some of that in your strategic priorities report at the end as well.
Okay,
Awesome.
awesome. Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
Yep, thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. So we have this list of municipal oversight: HR, payroll, finance, risk management, asset management, and other regulatory compliance. And then we have the golf course management committee. Right now, we've said 2 councillors, 5 members. Maybe 2 councillors is right, 1 may be fine. We happen to have 2 that are quite keenly interested in it. The only thing that I'll mention later is I think it's important, like when you assign your chair and vice chair of the committee, that they aren't the councillors. I think that's a good practice to not have your councillors chair citizen-driven committees, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So what we added here, though, as you remember, council, I was concerned about what is the role of this committee in the interactions with staff? Can all 7 of them show up at their respective tea time of the day and say, I want it this way and that way and the other way? And now I just have an exodus of staff because they've had it with having 7 bosses, of which I get to empathize with, by the way. That's something I can relate to them. Not that I'm exiting. But so we talked about one of the positions on this committee. Someone would be assigned to be the committee liaison, and we defined that in the agreement. And the committee liaison is the one that can interact between the management team and the committee. They're not going to the frontline staff. So, but they can talk to, we have our management team now, and they can say, hey, remember at the meeting, we talked, this is a priority. How's it going? Has there been some concerns? Is there something we should recommend to council? That kind of stuff. So we have defined a committee liaison who then works with the management team and then the staff. And I guess what I would say to that is it's a little bit unconventional, but I'm certainly open to trying. I think it can work. A lot of this success of this committee comes back to what we hope is an abundance of potential volunteers and then good scrutiny by council of who's on the committee. Yeah. Right? So that a lot rests on who's there, and we need really good, competent people because we're asking them to take an elevated role of most other committees in the town. We're asking them to, get up to speed on a lot of these issues and recommend to council lots of things. I wanted to point out just a couple of clauses in the agreement. I wanted to talk very quickly about 3A Part 2. So I'm just trying to be very clear on the mandate of this committee, and one of them is operational oversight, which can get a little bit nervous because it's like, well, we're letting them just go around and say what's going to happen operationally. But what we're saying is we want this committee to review the performance, monitor the service levels. Are people happy with what they're getting? Monitor maintenance standards. Do we have it in a place we want it? Monitor customer satisfaction and monitor implementation of the committee priorities. Very similar to what we're saying with financial. Review the budget. Review quarterly financial performance. Recommend budget. I'm really looking forward to, frankly, having this committee come back to me and then to council saying, here's what the priorities capital-wise are for that. We've looked at everything. We've met with the management team. We've all got this input, and here's our highest priorities, whether it's carts or whether it's irrigation or, well, it's all of those right now. But, I think it'll be great to have that committee recommending that stuff. And then looking at 4A as well, I wanted to delineate very carefully what authority does this committee have. And so as you can see in 4A, what the terms would say is council delegates authority to the committee to recommend. It's a whole list of recommends, and then there's a monitor piece in there, monitoring performance and outcomes. But this is a group that the authority you would be giving them is to recommend. I did some work. This was the last update, Councillor Johnson, that I sent you. I did some work on the membership and just the terms. So, you want to make sure that you have good staggering in your terms. So I outlined that just a little bit, not a big deal. That was in 6, you'll see. In 7, it talks about the officers. So the committee would have annually elect a chair and a vice chair and a committee liaison. Those are those 3 things that the committee elects. And again, I would recommend that the chair isn't a counselor. I think that needs to be a citizen at large. It's usually the best practice. Section 8 outlines the liaison role. The liaison can meet with management between the committee meetings, monitor progress, discuss operational concerns, gather information for the committee, and bring emerging issues to the attention of the committee, but they're not directing employees, assigning work, approving expenses, participating in discipline, conducting evaluations, or authorizing operational decisions. So just putting some parameters around that.
I just have a question
Yeah.
really quick here. So I understand not wanting to have the chair in like FCSS. We don't typically have a counselor or a mayor in that position as the chair. But my question on the golf course is, so the golf course committee has direction that they would like changes, whatever that is. But wouldn't it be the counselor then coming to council or coming to you with the recommendations? Or would it be the chair?
Yeah, I think it's appropriate that the chair would present to council on an annual basis. I think that's a good thing. And I say this for your benefit as counselors. The problem is that you're on a committee. You may or may not agree with the direction that the committee is going and the things they want, right? We've seen it.
It's happened.
And so if you're the counselor who's expected to come back here, there's an assumption amongst your peers that you come to the table with a bias.
Yes.
And I don't mean that even negatively. We all have biases. Of course, if Councillor Johnson's a golf advocate, of course he's got a golf bias, and that's fine. But it shouldn't be automatic that he has it at your table, in my opinion. That he can listen to the chair, he can debate with you as colleagues, but I would prefer, and I think best practice is, he's not the one advocating for everything for that committee.
Okay.
And that's why usually the best practice is you assign residents. The other thing is you're trying to give residents the ability to be involved. And you're giving them the ability to participate, and this is one of those ways. We're fortunate in the community. We've seen lots of really good citizen-at-large chair people. Okay. We've got people with great experience in that, and so I hope that works well. Okay. And we can, that isn't a hill I would die on administratively either. It's just a best practice. Okay. So, Section 10, just personnel matters. Again, where there's concerns around management performance, staffing matters, workplace issues, then the committee's to come to me, and then I'll work with them on that. But they're not to start investigating, evaluating, disciplining, etc. Come to me and we'll work through it. And then I just wanted to touch on, I think I just sum it up with the last section, that this is the following principle that will guide them. The committee establishes priorities and provides operational oversight. The golf manager and the ground superintendent manage operations. The CAO manages employment, financial controls, risk management, and municipal administration. Council retains ultimate authority over budgets, policy, municipal assets, and strategic direction. So, for today, just looking kind of for, not a motion, but what do we think about this? Are we okay? Is this a safe direction to go? By the way, and Mayor, you and I talked about this yesterday when we reviewed this. We may get a year into this and say, look, we've uncovered some issues we didn't foresee. Well, it's a term of reference. We amend the bylaw. Yeah. That's how that works. It's not in stone. So I would welcome some feedback on that.
Councillor Johnson, do you have feedback for us?
Well, the only thing that Councillor Kenley and I were speaking about was our main concern has been and is still, how do we take action quickly on something that needs to be corrected now?
Okay.
And how does that look in your mind? If Councillor Kenley or somebody reports something that there's a sprinkler shooting up on.
Right. Some of that little operational stuff, yeah.
It'd be easiest if the committee liaison or somebody on that committee had the authority to say, Superintendent, what's happening here?
And in this draft, I envision that's what happens. That's how I see it. Saying, hey, the committee's had these concerns. We've talked about it at our meetings. We see this is reoccurring.
I don't want to see that liaison person come to you every time he wants to talk to the superintendent
Yep.
or the pro.
I agree. Oh, so no, I agree with your comment on that. I don't agree that they have to come to me every time they want to talk to the superintendent. I agree with your position on that, because where I would see that escalating is, let's say this goes on for a while and finally the committee's frustrated. I would see the chair or the committee liaison coming to me and saying, look, I think we have a problem in the position and now we need you to intervene.
Yeah.
We need performance management here.
I want to be able to see this person, this committee, be fairly active
Mm-hmm.
in the involvement of the operation of that golf course.
Mhm.
And they can't do that without interaction with the head pro or
Yeah.
the manager or the
Yeah.
superintendent.
So I will, if we proceed down this road, I will need to have some really good meetings with that management team to say, look, that
Yeah.
you're going to be they're going to be at the table during these meetings too. And so there's nothing surprising them coming out of a meeting necessarily, right? So they're saying, yeah, here's where our challenges are. Here's where we're struggling. This is happening. This is what we're dealing with. Customers that are unhappy. They're the ones giving the committee their information. So then I see the liaison is saying, hey, how's that coming? Like, this is what the direction we wanted to take. What's happening? And you may get, well, Jeff won't change the policy, won't approve it. Okay, we better talk to him. We better get that going. And that's fine.
I agree that they can't give direction and can't discipline and all. Totally fine. But communication, yes.
Yeah, agreed.
I want.
So are you wanting that written better in here then? Because
when
it
it
sounds like
says-
you're saying the
when
same
it says,
thing.
The committee doesn't provide direction, I get nervous about that.
Okay.
So we need to tweak that wording then.
Yeah, so I have this is this 8B, what they shall not.
Yeah.
We've got the direct employees piece.
Yes.
So I think the committee and myself both have an opinion on that word direct. So maybe it's good we make that more clear. So we're not ambiguous. It'll just cause conflict if it's ambiguous. Okay.
I want the staff to know that they're going to have to work with this committee. And I don't think they get that message with that.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's the point of us discussing this, is coming up with the right wording.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, Counselor? Was that the big one?
That was the big one for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The rest of council, did you have anything to add to this, or
So
go ahead?
the main idea is to limit the times they have to come back. Well, to limit that they don't have to come back to you for every little thing that they want to do at the golf course.
So
Like, what would be an example
Yeah.
of something that they normally would have to come to you now that they can
Yeah.
be like, no, we can make that decision quickly here.
So here's how I've thought about this a bit, and here's how I see it's currently playing out, and where I think it would be more effective with a group of active golfers. I find out about problems at the golf course when they've reached a point of a lot of complaints or we're in a wreck.
Yeah.
I don't really know about a sprinkler that leaks 24/7 for 5 days. But those guys are on the golf course every day. And they see that and can request some response to that, and say, hey, we talked about this. This is still happening. Like, what's going on? But I find out about things on an exception basis when we've hit a point where there needs to be some intervention generally. Now, this is not to say, let me be super clear. None of that management team is trying to keep things from me. They're simply trying not to burden me with them. To be honest, in their defense, they're trying to help me.
Yeah.
And so they're like, we'll take care of it. We'll handle it. But I don't know if there's a lack of resources that are not allowing them to handle it. I don't know if there's procurement problems. I go to I go up once every 10 days or 2 weeks and just, how's everybody doing? I'm meeting with some management this week because they've asked me to, and I do that whenever they ask. But I just see that the realization of things that could be fixed is seen much quicker. And so if the committee were to say, okay, management team, we just feel strongly, I'm pulling it.
Yeah.
Maybe just a simple example that the the greens have to be mowed more frequently. And I know that sometimes is a sore subject, but we need we need more frequent mowing of this stuff. I couldn't tell you in any given week whether that's happening, Councillor Winder. But the committee can tell the liaison, hey, we're 2 days in, it hasn't happened again.
Great.
Can someone go talk to them?
Go ahead.
I can give an example just
Sure.
from recent experience. I've had complaint after complaint about the cups not being cut properly.
Okay.
The plastics is only down 1/4 of an inch from the top of the ground, which means the ball bounces out and hits the plastic. It's just a simple thing,
Sure.
but it hasn't been corrected in a long
Yeah.
time.
And I'd have no idea about that.
that's the
Yeah.
perfect example. Liaison person goes to the superintendent and said,
Okay.
you know, what's going on?
Okay.
You know, and
Yeah.
there's umpteen things like that
Sure.
could be discussed and corrected quickly
Okay.
if they had the ability to
Sure.
do so.
Okay.
Well, and I also think it's incredibly important for us to look at this as a trial,
Yeah.
right? And if there's something that we need to change, then we change it, because it's about not making the golf course staff hate us. That's not the point of this, or administration hate us that we're overstepping. So
Yeah.
this is trying to walk that. Just, you know, how can we make this less on administration and more boots on the ground, so to speak?
I'd
So-
very much like to frame it that we're offering a lot more resource. The feedback that the management team should get will be much better and much deeper, because these are people that are golf people,
I love that.
right? And so, you know, a lot of times when I try and deal with these, I've got to get all the context. I got to understand why this is important.
Right.
And so I do like this idea of having almost a board of directors here, industry people around the table. I do think there can be some benefit if we manage that relationship right, which is my responsibility to set it up properly.
Councillor Salk.
I was talking to a golfer today. He was still going back to, should have been water on that golf course in May or April, or at the beginning of the season. There should have been water on it, and now we're just barely coming out of the stagnation in the golf course because there wasn't that. And so the concern I think that he was expressing was, so can we be guaranteed that's never going to happen again? That kind of a problem. And I guess that's part of this committee's thing, is to make sure that those issues that have come up in the past don't come up again.
Like that.
And the other part of this is that the good part about this committee, and I don't know, Councillor Johnson, are you going to be able to find some citizens who are willing to? Is this same person? I'm like, well, we're going to have no, why don't you? No.
Yeah, there'll be some of that. I think you have some passionate individuals.
I think we do.
By the way, passionate knows what you want,
Yeah,
but I
that's
think you
fair.
have some passionate and competent individuals that want to be involved. I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
So
Because the great thing is that there's lots of eyes and ears now.
and they can act, and they're given the opportunity to act. Administration, are we good? Have we
Yeah,
given
so
you
what
enough
I'll do is
direction?
we'll need to amend our committee's bylaw.
Yeah.
So what I'll do, we have CCW next meeting. I'll do some other tweaks. I'll run it by Councillor Kenley and Councillor Johnson,
Sounds good.
and then we'll bring that amendment back for review, and then we can pass it in September.
Okay, sounds good.
I mean, if it's acceptable to you,
Of course.
we'll prepare it for that.
So that time we can't call for applications or invitations to for this committee until after that.
I think if we have a high level of confidence that everything's happening, we probably can. In fact, that's in my notes, was the onboarding and the recruitment and all that stuff too. I do think this is a committee that we would do well to have a little more thorough orientation than sometimes we do.
Yes.
Like really working on making sure they understand their role, the terms, what they can and can't do. So we could probably put some feelers out pretty early in anticipation it's happening and let them know that's the case. We're still just tidying up the last few things, but we're seeking interested parties, and we already have an advisory committee. Many of them may be interested in moving over, and so we want to have that discussion with them as well.
Well, and we probably want to have it written that it's okay to double dip, to be in both.
Well, that we
right?
wouldn't have the other one anymore.
Oh, so that one completely
Yeah, that would
is
go
done.
away. Yeah, so we would just talk
Okay.
if any of them are interested in migrating, and then they would be in the overall pool of candidates that you would consider as council.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councillor Smith.
Well, this is totally irrelevant, but it would be really nice to see a woman in that committee. I
So
don't know if there's women golfers around here or not, but
Yeah.
Women would need to put forward just like a man. We shouldn't just have them on the board because they're female, but whatever.
we know.
Yeah. So great. Let's move forward. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
Golf course clubhouse update. Councillor Johnson.
Well, we met with Jeff a couple of weeks ago, and he has received a new kind of initial blueprint or footprint of the clubhouse presented by Southwest.
Yeah.
And much smaller in design, a 2,500 square foot building instead of 4,500 square feet, with the idea that this could be built within our budget of
Wow. Mind blowing.
We hope. And so our intention is to finish that design and put it out to tender locally.
Awesome.
And hopefully we can get going on it next year.
I do have, just so you know, because you don't know this yet, Councillor, I've had some recent correspondence with Southwest. I'll share that with you in our strategic plan update in closed session.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions in regards to this? Seeing none, thank you, Councillor Johnson. I appreciate your work on this with Councillor Kenley. Okay, we've got September 22nd council meeting. So we need to, so ideally we're all on our way up to Edmonton that day for our Alberta Munis conference. So we need to, we do have lots of Tuesdays. I'm just gonna grab a calendar. So we were wondering if we could move it from the 22nd to the 29th, if y'all would be okay with that. So that would be the 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be the 5th Tuesday. Would you all be okay if we bump it? So
with canceling and doing new meetings, a motion to cancel the September 22nd, and then a
Yes.
motion to have a council meeting on the 29th.
right. So Councillor Selk.
So,
Sorry.
the question.
Yes, question.
Sorry, were you going to make a motion?
Okay, question. Go ahead.
That worries me. And we can't make motions in our committee meeting, right?
Yes, but we can make motions on the 8th and the 15th.
Okay, that's fine then.
Yeah, you have a regular council
Yeah.
meeting on the 8th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure. No, that's
Oh.
fine with me then. Let's go for it.
Actually, that's true. Do you want it, rather than have it the 29th, do you want it the 15th? Because that's our third Tuesday.
Just if I might, from my point of view, to have a meeting the 1st, the 8th, the 15th, it's fine, it's doable, but you won't have a lot on that
No.
15th agenda, if I can be frank. Because that gives me like
I know.
2.5
I know.
business days between meetings to
Gotcha.
turn an agenda around.
Councillor
Um,
Johnson, are you okay if we kick it to the 29th?
So CCW on the 1st, regular council meeting on the 8th, or you could push the 8th to the 15th and go 1st, 15th, 29th.
Yep.
When could we get this golf course?
I was planning on having you this ready for approval on the 1st to look at, and then there'd be no concerns, and you could pass motions on the next
Okay.
meeting.
So if we plan for that.
Let's plan for that.
Okay, let's plan for that.
Okay.
Council, y'all okay
So
with that?
1st, 8th, 29th?
So we're gonna go the 29th.
Yeah.
September 29th. Is that okay? All right. Back to you, Councillor Seth.
Just want to make a resolution to cancel the regular council meeting for September the 22nd as a result of Alberta Munis Conference.
Okay. Questions? All in favor? Another motion? Go ahead.
I move to replace that meeting from the 22nd to the 29th.
Okay. Regular meeting of council on the 29th. All in favor? Perfect. Thank you. All right, let's go to E. Speaking of which, Alberta Munis Conference. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, so you should have on your town email all received a confirmation of conference registration.
Yep.
Hannah did that this week. We wanted to get that in before the early bird, and I texted you all, and you got back to me. Thank you. I have had hotels booked for quite a while, so we've got all that done. There's just a couple of logistical things I wanted to confirm. So, and I had that on the draft itinerary, but I just do want to confirm arriving Tuesday, September 22nd. We're all going to be getting there at different times. In my opinion, for that night, it's not usually prudent to try and all get together for anything. Councillor Kenley's getting up there super late because he works, and I think it's just you're on your own that night. And then we have Wednesday and Thursday night. Do we want to do one of those as a, with partners if you have them, or at least all of council? Or do we want to do that 2 nights, and I'll arrange for both nights to have dinner somewhere? I just want a little feedback on those dinners for Wednesday and Thursday.
I think it's, speaking personally, I think it's a great opportunity for us to, be together. So I would suggest that we do 2 meals together. If y'all get sick of us, then don't show
come.
up to the
Yeah.
second one.
Don't come.
Just saying. But we're not up there to do anything else. We're up there to go and listen and learn and try and be the best at our jobs we can be. So, what do you think, council? Would you approve with hanging out with me a couple times? Is that okay?
Spouses.
We're spouses.
Yeah, I think normally at Alberta Munis, if you brought your spouse, we have them come as well. Yeah.
I don't think mine will, but
And as we get closer to that, I'll text and ask so I know how
who's
many.
going, who's driving.
Yeah. Yeah. And if we do want to touch on that just a little bit, as far as everyone getting up there, I mean, I'm going to just drive. I can take 3 other people.
I'll go.
Counselor Kenley is working late and then was going to drive himself. Now, someone else can go up with him late. That's perfectly fine because he's got to go later. So yeah, maybe just keep me posted if you.
Going and.
But, you know, I'd prefer if we didn't have 6 vehicles up there too.
Yeah.
That's always good. But it, you
It's
know,
costly.
sometimes, and it's perfectly reasonable. Sometimes you take your spouse and you go see kids that live up in that neck of the woods. That's fine. Just keep me posted so we're not scrambling at the last minute.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. Go ahead.
So the conference is
Edmonton.
separate from the hotel. The hotel is 850 meters or something, whatever.
Yeah, it's 850 meters from the Shaw Conference
But
Center.
you'll be able to arrange the
So
transporting.
the Sandman is a partner hotel, so they're what they call taxi chits. So you can have a coupon to take taxi there and back at no charge.
Yeah.
And we can
The
pick those up
shuttle.
at registration.
Yep.
But as always, Uber, I can have that waiting for you too. But the Sandman was added, so we have taxi rides between them now.
Sounds great. All right, we're going to move on to 6F, ORSC agreement. So I'm guessing y'all have read it, and they're looking for us. They wanted to review the draft and, if possible, make a resolution to approve this. Council, did you have any questions?
Who's our
On
counselor on ORSC?
Right
Oh,
here,
it's you.
Counselor.
Okay.
Yeah, Winder.
Mayor, if I might, and I don't want to complicate things, I shared this with the mayor yesterday. If this wasn't a commission that we were a member of, I don't like some of the clauses in this. It abdicates ORSC from risk in almost every scenario. And one of my colleagues sent me an email because I sent an email out to a bunch of the regional CAOs and I said, hey, you know, have any of you reviewed this? Has the time for comment, has that ship sailed? You know, we were asked to give some comments back in June. Did anyone? I was guilty, I didn't. But one of my colleagues emailed me back and said, hey, one of the reasons why the risk is put off of ORSC is that if there is a development wreck, say it's significant in Coaldale, and it's a multi-million-dollar project, that there was some errors that led to that project being damaged. If ORSC is sued, all of us are potentially responsible to pick up the tab as members of the commission. And so he's saying it gives you it protects us from each other a little bit. Whereas we're responsible for errors that happen in our municipality, but we're probably not going to be able to share that harm with the rest of the municipalities. So I guess I haven't mulled on that a ton. I give that a maybe, but I think we have a counselor always assigned to it, and we would have the exact same agreement as every other member municipality, I think our risk is generally mitigated. If it was us in a company or a contractor, I would have said, council, there's 6 things here I don't like for a second. But given it's a commission, I can probably live with it.
Councillor Winder, have you heard anything on this for the other municipalities? Are they pushing back at all?
I haven't heard anybody pushing back on it, no.
So, council, would you be okay if we make a resolution to approve this?
Question,
Go ahead.
is this something that's just being renewed and updated, or is this?
When Lenz Kuiper retired and Tracy Thomas, I believe, when Tracy came in, one of her assignments from the executive was to get consistency between all the member municipalities. So as members had joined over the years, and it's been 40 years or something since its creation, there was a little bit of difference between, and the services offered and all those things were a little not as uniform. And this is an answer to that direction, to get agreements consistent across the board.
Councillor Winder, would you be willing to make a motion to approve the ORSC agreement?
They call it the Membership Services Agreement.
I'll make a motion to agree to the membership services agreement of ORSC.
Okay. Questions? All in favor?
Okay, thank you,
Thank
Council.
you, Councillor. All right, now this one is a little tricky, so I will have, this is 6G.
I got a couple things to hand out.
You bet. So this is in regards to funds transfer, but there's backgrounder on it, speaking of hail.
I'm gonna give you
Because we're
this.
gonna
I didn't
go.
make one
I'm
for
gonna
everyone.
ride that all day, Counselor.
My bad.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for the late addition, council. We just ran into some.
While replacing the windows.
Let me see. I have 2 items under this fund transfer, and I am looking for 2 motions, but you haven't seen this yet, so please let me walk you through it. Some of you may remember that when we had the hail last year, it destroyed the score clock at Lions Park for football. And the season is actually September 4th is the first game, and the season's upon us. And one of our local contractors has, when we got talking to them about replacing the score clock, they said, well, what if we got a better one that's more enhanced, we could do more with? And I said, well, we only got $20,000 from insurance, and that replaces what we have. And he said, well, I'll buy the thing, and then you give me the 20 grand, and we'll get a better one. So he did that. It's here. It has arrived. They're doing some metal fabrication to put it on our existing stand. Our electricians have run the conduit and the wiring to control it from the new score clock. I went down actually and looked at that project real quick today, and its windows are going in today and should all be in, and the metal cladding is going on soon. So we've done a bunch of that work, and this scoreboard has arrived, and the contractor would like us to pay him because he's got to pay for the total sign. So what happened is when we got that money from insurance, we were doing those grants, and we would still frankly hope if we get those grants, we can almost get our money back. And so we put the money in reserves last year. So it's just sitting in a reserve account. And what I'm seeking, and you'll see this at the very bottom of this RFD, is a following resolution to transfer $20,000 from reserves general to Parks Capital. And then what we're going to do is pay the person that bought, it's a $50,000 scoreboard, by the way. They sent me the invoice from the manufacturer to support that. So we'll have a $50,000 scoreboard down there for what we got from insurance to replace ours.
Okay. Counselors, would one of you be willing to make that motion? Counselor Johnson, thank you.
I'd move to transfer 20,000 from account 4-10-260 reserves general to account 2-72-027 Parks Capital for the Lions Park score clock.
Questions? All in favor? Thank you. Next up.
Okay, the next one on this actually, this is the next item on the agenda, but I need to refer to this to better explain my next funding change request. In the back of this project report, and I'm sorry I didn't get this to you earlier, it is on your computer as well. In the back 2 pages of this project report, you see some diagrams that look something like this. It's kind of got these ovals with a line through them. If you look at the first one, and on the top it says Fairway Boulevard Storm Drainage Improvements Phase 1. Brandon's been working with both Josh Malin and also with the contractor doing the Augsut project. And let me explain how those are coming together. In the overall design of the Fairway Boulevard project years ago when Ellison's did the initial design, that was, like Josh is doing now, intended to have some cul-de-sacs and extend quite a bit further. And the storm system was designed back then for the whole development. So Josh has now tied in, or is preparing to tie in, to where the other one left off. And part of that design was at the end of what we call Lot 11, so the last house on your right, there's actually a laneway through that property where there's utility infrastructure that goes through, and all the storm goes through there and then out into what is a dry lake right now. So all to the north of those homes, you see that big field there, and there's a place where the stormwater drains. So it was intended that all that new development would go north past those houses that are on the north side and into that lake that will eventually be developed one day. So Josh has everything stubbed out to the end. And so Brandon was up there looking at it. And so coincidentally, the contractor for Augsut came to Brandon and said, we need a whole bunch of topsoil and clay, and we need a bunch of fill up on this site. And do you have any place that we could get clean fill? So Brandon came and he said, look, we have an opportunity here that if we plan and design this swale to come through those properties and all the way down to the lake, these guys will come dig and transport it all at no charge, which will be significant. For us to hire, it's like 3,000 cubic meters of fill is what he's estimated. And that they're saying, look, if we can have it, we'll dig it, we'll truck it, we'll do all that. And so Brandon's saying this might be an opportunity, even though we weren't really planning to build that out too much yet. Phase 1 is simply extend it north past the homes and then dig a swale that allows it to drain properly down into the lake where it currently all the other stuff drains. Phase 2, which is the next page, would be to build the full-on lake, which we're not proposing yet. That would be another time, but this would direct everything properly. So with that happening, we took a look at budget and said, well, what do we have to do to prepare to take it from Josh and tie it into the whole system? And we do need manholes, some piping to extend it far enough north, aggregate, a few things like that, of about $20,000 to $25,000 is what we expect it's going to cost for us to get it where it needs to go and to tie it into the existing storm system. We have another project you approved in the budget on 6th Avenue by the Provincial Building, which was building some swales to help move stormwater in times of high water and not have it go down in by the Provincial Building and redo some of that. Brandon is recommending that given the opportunity to work with the contractor from Augsut, and given that we need to do some work on the storm trunk line before we can tie into it anyway, that we change the intent of that $25,000 to the Fairway Boulevard project. I support Brandon in that. I think we'll save upwards of $100,000 by not having to pay someone to come and truck and haul, or we would do it. It would just take, a couple of weeks of all of our tandems and our hi-ho and men and labor and gas. So I think there's a tremendous opportunity here to save some costs, and it times very nicely with Mr. Malin needing to tie that storm and start occupying, that development. He's poured his curb and gutter. If you've been up there, there's sidewalk, curb, and gutter now. And so he's getting much more aggressive on getting that ready. So I do recommend, council, if you're okay with that, we will bring, this was funded from reserves. So it's just transferring the intent. It's not adding any more money to the budget. So Mayor, you have a motion I gave you, which would read, if you're agreeable to redirect the funding that was earmarked for 6th Avenue drainage in the account to be used for the stormwater pond drainage project at Fairway Boulevard. We didn't just want to change that without council authorization.
No, I think that's wise. Councillor Smith has offered.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to move to redirect the funding of $25,000 that was earmarked for 6th Avenue drainage in account 2.37762 storm sewer capital to be used for the stormwater pond drainage project at Fairway Boulevard.
Councillor, questions? All in favor? And also thank you to Brandon for listening and figuring that out, because we're all about saving the town, saving the taxpayers money if we can.
You bet. Thank you.
All right. Moving forward, we're going to go to 7A, project reports.
Right. So I just stole the back 2 pages of that for the previous item, but please, I got this to you a little bit late, but please have a look at it. There was just a couple of things I wanted to point out because, well, if you go to 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5, water and sewer infrastructure, the water treatment plant finished the upgrade to that under-drain filter system in filter 1. There's 4 filters in that building. It looks great. They're going to get all the media back in and they can start using it. They did partially excavate filter 2, and the same problem exists in filter 2. So it is suspected that it exists on all 4.
Perfect.
Filter 1 was, I think, $135,000 to fix. So to fix the next is obviously exponentially the same. Curtis is working on application for the Alberta Water Wastewater Project or a similar grant to see if we can get it in 2027 or 28's capital budget.
Okay.
And so we'll see how that goes. But while that first phase is done, we had hoped, there was some suspicion that the issue might only be in the first filter because of the pressures on that first one. But they excavated number 2 and it's consistent. So good news is that phase 1's done. Phase 2, 3, and 4 might also have some challenges. More homework to do on that one. Other than, sorry, Mayor.
1 second. So just because we haven't bugged you for a couple minutes on the sewer treatment plant.
Yeah.
So that's coming to close.
So it's now September 2nd.
September 2nd.
Now we had an on-site contractors meeting. We had 22 contractors come to the meeting. So what was set out is if you were interested in putting a bid, you had to attend the on-site meeting. You had to send a representative. Because what they're trying to do is eliminate scope problems. Like, well, we didn't understand that. Or, oh, you know, we didn't know that was the case. We didn't understand access. We didn't understand logistics. So we had 22 contractors at the on-site meeting. When you take that list, many of them are, their goal would just be to be a subcontractor, but they wanted to have context. So they're not going to be bidding on the whole project. What they're going to do is as soon as we award a general, they're going to immediately go and say, hey, remember me? I was at the meeting. I want to be your cement guy. I want to be your metal fabrication guy. Okay. Right? So, but there was, I emailed Leva, our project manager, and I said, were the people you wanted there? And the answer was mostly. There was a couple of big firms, and I won't say them publicly, but there was a couple of big firms that because of other work, they just said, we'd love to bid on it, but we can't. Logistically, we can't mobilize crews. We don't have the resources. However, she was quite encouraged. I think there was at least 3 that she's like, you know, that's great. She thinks she's going to get a half a dozen proposals.
Okay, awesome. And now, sorry, you said September what?
September 2nd is currently the date. Now, it wasn't initially. It was August 17th, I think.
Yeah.
But what happens is they start getting questions and requests from bidders, and it's appropriate to give all of the bidders time once. So you put out, if Paula Brown asks me a question about the bid and I'm like, oh, that's a good question, we missed that, I need to send that information out to all potential bidders and then give them a chance to amend their proposal if they need to.
Okay.
And so what's happened is it's now been extended to September 2nd.
Okay, thank you. Counselor, sorry.
I just have a question here.
Go ahead.
So I read that and I don't know, Jeff, I'm assuming that Brandon and Curtis and everybody's all over this, the Alberta Canada Infrastructure Agreement that allows municipalities to access $510 million for water and wastewater facilities under the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund.
Okay. I got an email today about the Housing Infrastructure Fund. I just have it flagged. I haven't looked at it. Can you actually, while I have my notes up, can you just give me that first name you said?
It's the Alberta Canada Infrastructure Agreement. And I just came across this and thought, this is perfect.
Great.
This is perfect. We want
Yeah, great. We'll definitely give that some attention. Yeah, like I said, I do have an email on the housing fund, but I haven't gone through it yet.
Okay.
So great, thank you for that.
Thank you.
So just again, please peruse that. Brandon does a good job of just saying, here's where we're at with this. And if you take a drive up by the soccer park, you'll see they're just, so storm and sanitary are in past the Franco-Sud connection to the east industrial corner. And they were just putting in water today. They think that water will be done by the end of the week.
But their goal early on was...
It's not anymore.
Yeah, it was going to be September, but now it's January or something.
I'm not sure. And this is just, I say this, it's a bit interesting. I think Franco-Sud still has a very aggressive goal. When we talk to their general contractor now, they're like...
No. Nice try.
No.
Right?
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not sure buildings are going to be.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You betcha.
So I drove by there today, and the water is probably a third of the way down.
Okay. So it's in motion.
And that's the last one we have to do, and then we'll fix up the road and get that going.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other questions in regards to any of these projects?
What was the total budget for the water treatment plant?
Well,
so for the wastewater plant,
wastewater one.
So that's what these tenders are going to tell. The 75% cost estimate was 24-ish, if I might, Councilor. Don't hold me to the exact dollars, but it was north of 20, about 24. Yeah. I'd love to see it about 4 million less than that.
Please.
For sure. That would be huge for us. Now, this is a challenge. If I can just go on a small tangent, Mayor.
Bring it.
And this is some feedback I've received from potential bidders is, when the province announces grants, the contractors are like, oh, they're planning on it being twice that because the Alberta Water Wastewater Program is 50%. And I'm worried that these bids are going to center around what the grant announcements were. And I actually would like to talk to the Minister of Transportation and say, maybe you shouldn't announce those grants until after the tendering's done. Because I think it's skewing the cost. And in our situation, our first estimates and what we got the grant on was an MBBR system, which we're using a completely different technology now that's supposed to be that much cheaper. But all of those bidders know we got a grant of $14 million because we had a $28 million project. And that concerns me because I'm already hearing that feedback from some of the people, because I'm the one they call if they have questions. I'm on the, any questions, please phone this number. And they're all saying, oh, you got a $28 million project. I'm like, no, we don't. Yeah, but you got a $14 million Alberta Water Wastewater grant. I'm like, no, it's up to 14.
Please no.
And we wouldn't proceed with the $28 million project, is essentially what I say. So I am worried that those announcements are skewing capital costs. And I'm trying to figure out how to approach that carefully with the ministry. Because I appreciate they have a desire for transparency.
Of course.
They want to tell people, here's what we gave. It's a good election thing. It's good PR. But at the same time, I think it might be skewing bids.
Okay, let's move along to 7B. So this is our development report.
Yep, just for information, 2 houses in Q2, 4 commercial buildings totaling almost $1 million just there.
Yeah.
And then quite a bit of other, like a lot of small stuff, quite a bit.
Perfect. Any questions in regards to this, council? Okay, seeing none, we're going to continue on. So we received an email from the Counseling Alberta to invite your municipality to proclaim October 8th as National Depression Screening Day. And then the other one we got was National Police Federation email, just another letter asking for support on that. So can I have a motion maybe for a recess for 15 minutes? Thank you.
A motion to have a 15-minute recess.
Perfect. All in favor? Thank you.
Closed session delegation 7.
reconvene.
All in favor? Perfect. All right. Can I have a motion to go in closed session, please? Counselor Winder.
A motion to go into closed session.
All in favor? Thank you. All in favor? Nope. Counselor Johnson.
Motion to adjourn?
Yep.
Oh,
All,
can I- that's-
oh,
So what about 9A and 9B? Those two emails. Or you just
I
gonna
already
ignore
did them.
We talked about
Yeah,
that.
I talked about them.
She mentioned them.
We mentioned them, but we didn't
Oh.
decide.
Oh, sorry. You're right. We didn't. Do you want to? So we're gonna.
I'm just asking. I mean,
Yeah,
if we
no.
want to just totally.
Counselor, we're gonna come back to you.
Motion to adjourn.
Perfect. All in favor? Thank you.
When's the next meeting?